All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into the thrilling world of the Detroit Lions. The Lions aren't just sitting at an impressive 8-1 record. They've just pulled off one of the wildest comebacks you'll see from them all season. They scored an incredible 19 unanswered points in the second half. At halftime, they were down 23-7, but the Lions turned it around to beat the Houston Texans on the road 26-23. Against all odds, they got it done. And here's the stat that will blow your mind. Jared Goff, the Lions starting quarterback, threw 5 interceptions in this game. Usually that's the kind of game you'd want to hit reset on if you were playing Madden. It's just unreal. But Goff kept going despite the odds. In the fourth quarter alone, the Lions put up 13 unanswered points, pushing through for the win. Jake Bates deserves a huge shout-out, our hometown hero, and my pick for player of the game. Carlton Davis also came through with a couple of interceptions. Goff's final stats: he completed 15 of 30 passes, throwing for 240 yards and 2 touchdowns. Impressive, right? But those 5 interceptions make you do a double take. He only had 3 interceptions before this game, yet somehow, despite it all, the Lions won. This game is a perfect reminder of why you need to watch football live. If you just saw the stats, you'd wonder how in the world the Lions won this one. But they did, pulling off a win by 3 points against the Texans. It was a roller coaster for sure. Welcome back to the channel. If you're as excited about the Lions as we are, hit that like button and subscribe for daily Lions content. Let's keep aiming high, Lions fans. There's more to come. If we could get this video to 800 likes to celebrate the Lions' amazing 8-1 start, it would mean the world to me. Now let's dive into this game. Normally, when I watch the Lions play over the last year and a half, if they're losing early on, I don't panic. But let's be real. Detroit was down 10-0 after the first quarter and 23-7 by halftime. As a Packers fan, I've seen the Lions in tough spots before, and I'd usually bet on them to bounce back. After all, this season has been different. They haven't been down often. Just a few weeks ago, they were trailing 10-0 against Minnesota after the first quarter, but they pulled through. Honestly, I think the Detroit Lions are one of the best teams in the NFL. Sure, the Kansas City Chiefs keep winning and are sitting at 9-0, so they're tough competition. But to me, the Lions are still the team to beat. When Detroit is losing, I still find myself thinking, there's no way they're actually going to lose. They're the better team. But at halftime, it didn't feel like their night. Down 23-7, and with Goff already throwing a couple of interceptions, the odds weren't in their favor. It was a rough night on the road, Sunday Night Football, and Goff was struggling with turnovers. 5 interceptions in total, some his fault and some just bad luck. This game wasn't looking good for Detroit at all. At halftime, it felt rough for the Lions. Honestly, the first time in the last year and a half that I thought they might actually lose this one. But despite throwing 5 interceptions, Jared Goff made plays when it counted. Jahmyr Gibbs carried the ball 19 times for 71 yards, while David Montgomery added 12 carries for 32 yards and a touchdown. It wasn't easy, especially against a solid Texans defense led by Danielle Hunter, who's strong on the front line. In total, the Lions ran the ball 32 times, but only managed 105 yards, averaging 3.3 yards per carry. Not exactly the offensive performance they were hoping for, yet they still managed to pull off the win. Sam Laporta, though banged up, contributed with 3 catches for 66 yards and a touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 6 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown, and Gibbs added another 37 yards receiving. And then we had Jameson Williams, back from suspension. His stat line, 3 catches for 53 yards, might not sound like much, but each catch was a game changer. If you watched, you'd know every one of those catches was huge, helping drive the team forward. Williams deserves major credit for this victory. And speaking of game changers, let's talk about Jake Bates and Carlton Davis. Davis grabbed 2 interceptions, with one of them coming right at the start of the second half. The Lions were down 23-7, and on that very first play of the second half, Davis intercepted C.J. Stroud. Surprisingly, the Lions didn't score off that play, but it set the tone for a strong defensive effort. You know, the game really took a turn when the ball was in Houston's territory, around the 40-yard line. On the very first play of the second half, Carlton Davis intercepted C.J. Stroud. But here's the surprising part. The Lions didn't score on that drive. It was a clear sign that for the first time in a year and a half, I felt like the Detroit Lions had no chance of winning this game. Can you believe that? Despite the odds, players like Brian Branch and Jack Campbell were everywhere on the field, making big plays. Aleem McNeil also had a standout performance with 6 tackles and a sack. And let's not forget Carlton Davis, who made a huge impact with 2 interceptions. What a game. He had a solid game on defense as well. Josh Paschal made a big sack, and we're all hoping to see Zadarius Smith back for the upcoming matchup. I believe it's against Minnesota next weekend, but it might be the Jacksonville Jaguars. Either way, I'm sure Zadarius will be ready to suit up, even though he didn't play tonight. Pat O'Connor and James Houston both contributed with sacks too. Overall, it was a fantastic team effort on defense. The main topic of discussion surrounding the Detroit Lions has been their defense, especially after Aiden Hutchinson's injury a couple of weeks ago. He's one of the league's top defensive players, and with him out for the season, many wondered what would happen next. But today, the team really stepped up. You have to give credit where it's due. C.J. Stroud went 19 for 33, throwing for 232 yards with a touchdown and an interception. Meanwhile, Joe Mixon struggled, averaging just 1.8 yards per carry. Sure, the game script didn't work in his favor, but the Houston Texans' starting running back ran the ball 25 times for only 46 yards. He did manage to score a touchdown, but still, that's less than 2 yards per carry. This was a massive defensive win for the Lions. Without their strong defense, they wouldn't have had a chance to win this game. They threw 5 interceptions and still came away with a victory against one of the better teams in the AFC and the league overall. On the road, the Detroit Lions are now 8-1. That's all we have time for tonight because it's midnight on the East Coast. Oh, the East Coast. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Let me know who your player of the game is for the Detroit Lions in the comments below, and we'll see you in a day or two.